today we're looking at, well, what happens when a head of state comes back from a pretty long trip abroad? What does it all mean?
Yeah, it's more than just jet lag, right? There's always a story behind the journey.
Exactly. So our focus today is President Bola Tinubu's recent two-nation tour. He was in Saint Lucia, then Brazil. We're basing this on reports that just came out July 13th, 2025 from Punch and G and Daily Trust.
Good. Solid sources for this kind of reporting.
Right. And our mission for you listening is to really unpack this trip. What were the goals? How does it fit into, all the other international trips he's taken since coming into office?
Basically getting past the headlines, not just what happened, but why it matters.
Okay, let's start at the end, actually. The return to Abuja. President Tinubu just wrapped up this diplomatic marathon.
Marathon feels like the right word sometimes.
He does. So Punch and G says he got back Saturday night, July 12th. Daily Trust pins it down a bit more, around 2:00 a.m. Sunday, July 13th, Nigerian time.
Okay, so early Sunday morning then.
Yeah. He flew in on a San Marino-registered jet, T7NS, left Brazil, Galeão Airport, around lunchtime Saturday, their time. Which was what, 4:50 p.m. Nigerian time?
And the arrival wasn't low-key, I gather.
Not at all. High-profile reception at Nnamdi Azikiwe International. Think top government people. Minister of Budget, Atiku. Minister of State for Defense, Matawal.
Rubadu, the NSA.
Yep. New Rubadu. Also, former Sokoto Governor, Senator Wamako, and Alhaji Ibrahim Masari. A significant lineup.
That kind of reception, it's not just protocol, it's sending a message.
What kind of message do you think?
Well, it signals the importance the government places on this specific trip. It suggests these weren't just routine meetings. They want to publicly underline the significance, maybe hint at successful outcomes. It frames the narrative domestically and internationally.
That makes sense. Okay, so to really get the significance, let's rewind. Where did this all start? St. Lucia.
Right, the Caribbean line.
The trip actually kicked off way back on June 28th. He landed in St. Lucia, and the official visit ran from June 29th to July 4th.
And the purpose.
Officially, a state visit. Strengthening ties with Caribbean nations, reinforcing this idea of South-South cooperation.
Cooperation between developing nations.
And the timing was key. It coincided with St. Lucia's 45th independence anniversary.
Strategic timing. Adds a ceremonial layer, but also probably more access to regional leaders gathered for the event.
Seems like it. He had courtesy calls with the Governor General, Cyril Charles, and Prime Minister Philip Pierre. And a big moment was his address to a special joint session of their Senate and House of Assembly.
Okay, that's significant. Where was that held?
At the William Jefferson Clinton Ballroom, Sandals Grande in Gross Islet.
Right.
And the audience wasn't just local politicians. Heads of government from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, were there. Diplomats, Nigerian community members, the OECS Director General, Dr. Dedicus Jules. Quite a crowd.
So that focus on South-South cooperation with the Caribbean, it's interesting. It goes beyond just standard diplomacy, doesn't it?
How so?
While Nigeria is looking to build alliances, maybe form a bloc on certain international issues, think climate change, trade talks, debt, issues where smaller nations and larger developing nations might share common ground.
So amplifying Nigeria's voice by bringing others along.
Exactly. And perhaps opening up new economic avenues, partnerships where Nigeria isn't competing directly with, say, China or the U.S., but building something more on a peer-to-peer level. Okay. It's smart diversification.
Okay. From the Caribbean, next up, Brazil. A very different kind of meeting.
Indeed. A shift from bilateral and regional focus to a major global gathering.
He landed in Brazil on July 4th, stayed until the 7th. The main event was the 2025 BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, running July 6th to 7th.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now expanded, a major force in the global economy.
Right. The summit was about, sustainable development, global economic reforms, leaders of major emerging economies getting together.
And President Tinubu was there.
He was. Attended at the invitation of Brazil's President Lula da Silva. But Nigeria's role was specific. They participated as a partner country.
A partner country. Okay, what does that actually mean in the BRICS context? It sounds like not quite in, not quite out.
The reports described it as a membership category short of full status. The summit itself was also called the 17th meeting of the Global South and the Emerging Economies Bloc.
So it's a nuanced position. Being a partner country means Nigeria gets a seat at certain tables. They're involved in discussions, maybe invited to specific sessions or initiatives.
But not a full member.
Right. No full voting rights, none of the core obligations, perhaps. It's a way to engage, to signal alignment or interest with this powerful, growing bloc without fully committing.
Why not just join fully or stay away?
Well, it could be strategic. It allows Nigeria to explore the benefits, maybe influence discussions from the periphery, test the waters. It shows ambition to be part of these conversations about shaping the global economy.
Without upsetting maybe traditional allies.
Potentially. It gives them leverage, you could say. They can learn from BRICS, align on certain issues, but maintain flexibility. It's like putting a toe in the water rather than diving straight in, especially as BRICS itself is still evolving its identity and direction.
Okay, that makes sense. So this whole trip, Saint Lucia, then Brazil, it's quite the journey. But, as you said earlier, it's not an isolated event.
Not at all. This fits into a very clear pattern we've seen since President Tinubu took office.
Let's look at the numbers. Since May 2023, the reports say he's taken no fewer than 41 foreign trips.
41? That's quite a lot in just over 2 years.
Visiting at least 28 countries across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, the Americas. He's really covering the globe.
Any places stand out as frequent destinations?
France seems to be a favorite 6 trips mentioned. The UK, 4 times. The UAE, 3 times.
Interesting mix. Europe, the Middle East.
And other big players, too. The U.S., China, India, Saudi Arabia, all part of what's described as his administration's foreign policy thrust.
And the nature of these trips?
Varied. Ceremonial visits, big economic summits like BRICS or G20 perhaps, specific diplomatic missions, bilateral talks, the whole range.
So if you look at the sheer volume and the diversity, what does that tell you?
Well, it points to a very, very active foreign policy. Almost hyperactive, maybe?
It certainly suggests a belief that face-to-face, high-level diplomacy is crucial. Perhaps the aim is strengthening alliances, definitely attracting foreign investment, and just generally positioning Nigeria as a key player on the world stage.
Making sure Nigeria is seen and heard.
Exactly. It's a strategy of direct engagement. This constant travel demonstrates a clear push to project Nigeria's influence and, crucially, to secure economic partnerships. That seems to be a major driver.
But does that much travel raise any questions?
Oh, absolutely. Such extensive travel inevitably brings scrutiny. People ask about the costs, the tangible return on investment for each trip, and critically, how does the focus on international stages balance with pressing issues back home?
Right. It's a very visible strategy, being out there on the global stage.
But that visibility means the results, or lack thereof, are also highly visible. It invites questions about priorities and effectiveness. It's bold, but it comes with expectations.
So wrapping this up, we've followed President Tinubu's journey, Saint Lucia, then Brazil. We've looked at the goals, South-South cooperation, engaging with BRICS as a partner.
And we've seen how it fits this broader pattern of really extensive international travel since he came into office. A very deliberate foreign policy approach.
Yeah. And hopefully for you listening, this deep dive gives you a clearer picture of the complex world of diplomacy and where Nigeria is trying to position itself.
Understanding the why behind the movements.
Exactly. Now, for a final thought, one of the sources, Punch NG, had this interesting little side note. They mentioned that the ADC, the Action Democratic Congress Party, welcomed Tinubu back.
Okay.
But they also sought answers to 5-day post-BRICS absence. Apparently, there was a period after the main summit before he flew back where his activities weren't widely publicized.
That's interesting.
It raises a question, doesn't it? Especially for you to think about. In this age where we expect constant updates, how do people view these periods during long foreign trips where maybe things are less visible?
Yeah, what's the balance between necessary private diplomacy or downtime and public accountability, especially when a leader travels so much?
What does that kind of public query from an opposition party tell us about expectations for transparency in leadership today, particularly on the global stage? Something to mull over.